everyone. So I'm going to be doing a review on my 2019 Volkswagen Jetta. I'm sure they know there's like a lot of car reviews of this car. And a lot of YouTubers do new car reviews, which is really good, right? One of my favorite YouTubers, the Straight Pipes, Jacob and Yuri. But the thing is, they only have the car for like a week or two at max, right? And I want to give that kind of like owner's perspective, because at the end of the day, you're not going to own a car for a week, right? You're going to own it for a couple thousand kilometers, maybe a year or two, right? So so I'm going to be showing some unique stuff that I've learned along the way from owning this car.
Yeah, so from the outside, one thing that you'll notice is that since it shares the MKB platform with Volkswagen and Audi, it shares like a lot of similarities. So you can see it has a lot of design cues of an Audi A4. So if you look at this this upper design line, it's pretty similar to that. The taillights are very similar. And if you look at this this kind of upward sloping trunk, inbuilt spoiler, it looks pretty similar. I think one of the coolest things about this car, just the design, like all the body lines, just so many different lines. It actually has like a bit of active aero, which is pretty cool. Another thing I really like about the outside, it has a rail-to-rail sunroof. So when you open it up, it looks pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the lights and stuff are pretty good. So let's go. Another really good thing about this car, all the finish is like absolutely amazing, right? Like if you feel, for example, all like the gaps between here and on the other side, if you measure it, and then if you look at it, like for example, the thickness of the doors all the way throughout, and if you look on both sides, like it's pretty nice. Yes, I mean, it's that Volkswagen German quality. So on the interior, you see again a bunch of Audi stuff, right? Like this, the mirror knob, in the middle section here, right? If you look at all the this kind of whole section is like from Audi. Another cool thing is one of my favorite parts is the interior ambient lighting. I'll try to insert a clip of here at nighttime.
So for the rest of this video, I'm gonna be using this template that I made. This is kind of like a template that I use to when searching for cars, to kind of document all this stuff. So I can share a screenshot of it, and if you guys like this template, like I can send it, or if you want me to make a template for like another car, yeah, for sure, just email me or DM me on Instagram and I can reach out to you. So basically the first thing is, for Jettas, they classified by each mark, which is a generation. So Mark 6 was from 2011 to 2018. This is a Mark 7, which is 2019 to the present. So I know they have 2020. It's also going to be Mark 7. So this new Jetta is, finally based on the famous Volkswagen Audi MKB platform. So the Mark 6 Jetta was not on that platform before. And a lot of cars share this platform. So the Audi A4, Q5, Volkswagen Tiguan, the GTI. This is a really good step for quality, right? Because one, they're sharing a lot of their platforms, and another thing is the cost, right? They can save so much money, and that's literally reflected in this car. I can explain that later. So this new generation has like an all-new interior, right? Which is far better than the old Mark 6. If all the basic, like if you touch here, all the places you normally would touch is pretty soft touch, except for the transmission tunnel, the center console. That's like still hard, but I mean it's a compact car, right? Another thing is, it feels very premium. It feels like very Audi, and the whole the dashboard is like driver focus, which is really cool. Another cool thing compared to the old Mark 6 Jetta is now this has the new 1.4 turbo. So the Mark 6 had the 1.4, but this is an updated version with the 8-speed. So it has pretty good mileage. It's rated for 30 mpg in the city and 40 mpg in the highway, but I've like just like on a pretty much like 85% drive, I can average about like 50 miles per gallon. That's like pretty good, right? Yeah, so this new generation has Apple CarPlay, Android Audio, digital cockpit, which my car doesn't have. So it's basically their Volkswagen's version of like the Audi virtual cockpit. The ambient lighting, and on the R-Line models they have an ELSD, right? Yeah, so basically like the Mark 7 when it came out, like now it's kind of like leading the kind of competition. So if you look at the pricing, so even though the 2019 Mark 7 Jetta is more bigger and has a lot more features, right? Like it comes standard with the LED lights, the alloy rims, and Apple CarPlay, all that stuff comes all standard, but yet it has a cheaper base price. So here we see the differences of that MQB platform, right? And they're giving that basic that business model, or not that business model, but that basic that engineering cost driven approach back to the customers, right? Yeah, so the Mark 7 is a good generation to buy because of all the advancements, but of course this is like the first iteration of first model year of the Mark 7, right? So any new model years are obviously going to have its first batch of issues, right? So let's go into the recalls. So these are some of the recalls. My car only had like a small suspension issue, I think, but like I never noticed. They just asked me to replace it, but they said it was fine. But basically these were the other recalls that they had. So incorrectly positioned headlight, so something they probably had done in the manufacturing assembly line. No warning when key is left in ignition. Rear coil springs may fracture. Yeah, so that's the one I had. They just replaced it, but it was fine. I never had any issues. Another thing was incorrect driver frontal airbags installed. So like from the gist of it, like these issues seem pretty fine. They're just a result of like production of a new vehicle generation. So some issues not covered by a recall. So there, some owners have been complaining about that their fifth gear grinds in the 8-speed automatic transmission, and Volkswagen seems to be holding back on this. Is a big issue, so just make sure you test out the car. My car seems fine, like the fifth gear doesn't grind at all. I hear like a buzzing sound, but that was like for the first like few thousand kilometers, and after like it went away, so I think it's pretty good. So next thing is trends, right? So if you look at like cars in this category, they have a much higher starting price and they don't offer the same features as this car does, right? And I think like another cool factor is the fact that like this compares with like Toyota Corolla, Hyundai Elantra, but this is like you're getting a premium name of a German brand, which is pretty cool, right? Like whether it's your first car or whatever, right? Like showing up to work in a Volkswagen, like that's pretty cool, right? Instead of showing up in an average compact car. Body style, yeah, so most people are leaning towards SUVs, right? So this car, like like Volkswagen does have the Tiguan, but this car, it has like a huge trunk and the amazing fuel economy. It makes it like at this cheaper price point, it makes it valuable to get into it. Powertrain, yeah, so most of the cars in this like class have like a 4-cylinder turbo, which is like the staple, right? It's either 4-cylinder turbo or 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. So this vehicle is like it's in a pretty sweet spot. No electrified options yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll trickle down. So the options to look for, so I have the R-Line package and the cold weather package. So this is only if you live in the East Coast, I believe. This is pretty good. Like the R-Line package got me that the Cross XTS system. That's pretty good. So it's pretty much an electronic LSD. I found that it's really useful in the snow. yeah, like I'm on all seasons and I never had any issues, even in the rain and stuff like that. It's pretty good. The R-Line package also has like, you know, a bit shorter ride height, so it has like lowering, I guess, like slightly like shorter springs. And then the cold weather package has like the front, the lower front half of the windshield is heated. Heated seats. On 2020 they have heated steering wheel, which mine doesn't have. The fog lights, ambient lighting, you know, the R-Line steering wheel stitch. It's very nice, premium quality. Yeah, so the other thing is, yeah, the ambient lighting, that comes part of it. The technology package is a good thing, but I'm not too keen on technology, like all the driver assistance stuff. You know, if it, for me, like for something with technology, like it has to work like bulletproof, like it has to work with 110%, right? And I tried it and I didn't really like it that much. Like it's okay if you're driving on the highway or like stopping with traffic all the time, but for me it didn't really make sense. So options to avoid. So you know, there's the manual and automatic transmission. You know, for Volkswagen, like the manual is a pretty good option because you get it cheaper, and like especially in Canada, like the manuals actually have pretty good resale as opposed to like somewhere in like California or something where like you're always in traffic, right? The only thing is that the manual will have less maintenance, of course, because like for the automatic, like I remember like for my DSG, even though it's not a DSG, but you know, DSGs have like their service and their transmission intervals for the service are like much shorter. So yeah. For color of interior, so most Volkswagens are generally you know, it's for that subtle look, right? You're not like trying to be Hyundai or Toyota, they're flashy colors. But you know, I went ahead and, you know, I saw the orange in the dealership and I was like totally like fell in love with the orange. But if I were to do it again, I'd probably, you know, get it white or black, because that's that whole like Volkswagen subtle look. For color of interior, so I got black. You can get it with white over here. The only one I would say to avoid at all times is like the beige interior, because like it's like the same leather and it's like pretty hard to maintain. I've seen like some pretty bad beige interior looking ones. So in terms of the competition, in terms of pros, I would say you know, Mark MQB chassis is like really good, because not only like, as I said, for quality and cost, in terms of parts too, right? Like if you want to, you know, retrofit something from another car, like for example, I was looking at getting wheels for like this car, and the Audi A4 wheels are pretty similar, or GTI wheels, right? And even for parts, right, a lot of the stuff is shared, so it makes your overall experience as an owner much cheaper. And you know, this has like this touch screen for all the models. Like mine has the upgrade screen, but the fact that like even the smallest screen is on like the base car for $20,000, like that's pretty good. Yeah, alloy rims for all models, 6-year warranty. So yeah, so this car has 6 years warranty, bumper to bumper. I think that's pretty good. You know, I think they did that after, you know, coming out of the scandal, but yeah, it's pretty nice. So the cons from this, I would say, is, you know, competitors like the Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic, they have more fuel efficient models, like they have like their hybrid options and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, you know, it has like less power. Like this car is not that powerful, but the turbo, like it's pretty torquey down low, and that's kind of what I like, right? Because you're going to be using the power in the city. On the highway, it is pretty like, so at times it is hard to overtake people, but you know, in the city, like from I guess like 0 to like 60 kilometers an hour, this car is pretty fun. Like with my exhaust and everything, like it sounds pretty nice, and like that low end like throwback, it's pretty, like it's up there. So for maintenance, Volkswagen offers maintenance plans, but you know, from forums and stuff, like if you're gonna drive this car, might as well like either do your maintenance on your own or get it done at like a Volkswagen certified shop, because like I feel like the maintenance plans are not really worth it. Yeah, so warranty 6-year, coverage, yeah, so it includes everything except like, you know, your general wear and tear items like your tires and brakes. So this car, I found this very interesting. It said that the recommended fuel type is regular, but this is a turbo engine, right? And I would personally, like, you know, there's a lot of like you can research, you can like fight against or whatever, but I would advise using premium fuel, 91 octane. So what I do is every other fill up, which is like once in a month, I fill it up with 91 octane, just to be safe. And the other thing is, on 91 octane, I've noticed I've got the car feels way smoother. I feel like it's like unleashing like all the power. And the other thing is, since with my exhaust, like when you downshift, when you're decelerating, you can notice like a lot more pops with the 91 octane. So other stuff is, Volkswagen parks are pretty cheap since they use multiple platforms of cars. So accessing everything is kind of difficult. Like everything is almost like with like a Torx screw, which is kind of annoying. Like even the air intake is used like a T25 screw. But in the interior, like I took apart pretty much like all the panels because I wanted to wrap it, and then I realized I didn't have enough wrap material to wrap it. But taking apart, like it was pretty easy, and I saw like a lot of their their design engineering work, which is pretty interesting to see. So another thing when buying a car is insurance, right? So this car has like a lot of like tech and safety features standard, which reduces your insurance payments. And usually German cars, like where I live in Canada and Brampton, is pretty good insurance rates. Especially if you compare it to like other Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas, like their insurances are like ridiculous. So just to give you like a ballpark, like my old Mark 5 Jetta, and coming down to this Mark 7 Jetta, like my insurance went down $15, right? And this was like for my age and with my personal history and everything, this was the cheapest car for me to insurance. I've checked on TD and other quotes and stuff like that, and it's pretty good. In terms of detailing, the outside doesn't have many quirks. The only thing is the interior is like a lot of gloss black, so you just got to be careful with that. Model comparison, so like I said, there's the Comfort line, High line, and Exec line. So the Comfort line is like the base model. It has a lot of features. Like onto the outside, it's pretty good. Like it has everything you need, right? The High line is like the good balance. Like, it has like most of the stuff. But I would recommend like either like if you want all the bells and whistles, like all the advanced driver assistance, I would get an Exec line. But if you just want just the looks and like kind of a middle ground, the R line is pretty good because there's a lot of stuff that the Exec line has. So in terms of mods, so how I like to split up my modifications and parts is into preventative reasons and proactive reasons. So in terms of preventative, like I would say, number one is to use 91 octane. And for Volkswagen in general, it's good to upgrade the suspension bushings. So that's something I'm looking to do. Maybe I can get something from like APR or H&R. And in terms of proactive reasons, the mods I've done is like I've explained my mod list, and I think like the most like bang for buck mod for this car is a muffler and resonator delete. It completely changes the car. It doesn't throw any codes. You have your warranty as long as you don't mess with your downpipes or cats. Like you're fine for warranty. And honestly, doing that like completely changes the car. Like I was so happy after I got it. Like I didn't expect it at all. Like the pops, like the upshift pops, like it sounds almost like, I would say like in forums some people say it sounds better than the Jetta GLI. I would agree because it has that kind of like low end rasp and stuff. But the GLI, like what I don't like about the GLI is like it's very like high pitched, which I don't like. I like that more deeper sound. But the GLI, the DSG transmission is really good. Like when you shift, like the feeling when you get like the whole like the chassis permeates like to your steering and your seat, like that's just unbeatable. And yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions. And yeah, let's see how long I keep this Jetta for. So let me know what you guys think of this review. I think it's like really important to consider these factors, like maintenance, insurance and stuff. Another big thing I didn't mention was financing, right? Volkswagen has like a really good lease program. This car was, I believe, 0.5%, and then because I had my old Volkswagen, I got a loyalty discount. So I pretty much paid 0% interest for this lease. And that's pretty amazing because like your basic cost of borrowing is like nothing essentially. There's some fees and stuff, but you know, that's pretty good. Even financing, like they have 0.99, 0% financing. So yeah, when you consider like, you know, all these three things, so finance, maintenance, insurance, I think this car is pretty good. And I would advise like everyone to, you know, look at these things, right? Because maybe on paper, like when other YouTubers are doing a review, they just go by the features and looks. But you know, when buying a car, like these are like the main important things, right? Like what percent interest rate you can get. You know, what is the cost insurance in your city? You know, what type of maintenance do you have to do? Can you do it on your own? Can you do it somewhere else? Do you have to do it at the dealership? And yeah, so thank you.